back to the Berg Podcast. Thanks for joining us today. With me today is Ford.
Hey, how's it going?
And Dan.
Hey, everybody.
I was like, I don't know where my head went right there. I froze. Like, you know what's funny is I'm looking at the screen here, and the horizontal stripes, because of the pixelation on the computer screen, they're like waving a little bit.
I made you a little dizzy.
As I looked and I see that, it kind of it caught me. Caught me for a second.
Wear horizontal stripes.
It's all right. It looks good, man. I like that. It's sharp. So. So anyways, this is Dan.
Hey, everybody.
Nice to meet you, Dan. Welcome to the podcast. First time listener.
Thanks for inviting me.
And we're talking about work, and you said it a couple minutes ago, and it's hard to believe, but we've had 10 rain days in the month of May. Is it the month of May?
Yeah, and I'm not talking 10 days where it rained. I'm saying 10 work days that have been shut down because of rain. So I mean, average month you have 20 days. There's 5 weeks in this month, working wise. So it's still about 20 days, but it may be just slightly over. But 10 days. So half the month we've lost to weather. And that's, that's not good because it's not like it rains one day and the next day everything's all dried out. Right. It's been a struggle for the guys this month. Yeah. It's funny coming off of April. We had a great April with good conditions, dry. Everybody kept talking about this drought. We're not in a drought anymore. Weather people may disagree with me, but it can't rain this much, and we're still in a drought.
What's the actual
measurement? I've heard the aquifer came back up or something like that. That's all I heard.
We can't be in a drought. It's rained a lot.
I don't know. It feels very wet, and it feels like we can't get away from it. It's impacted pretty much everything that happens outside, including our work. And that's always a problem this time of the year. It's a problem no matter what. If you got 50% of your working days are shut down because of rain. Mm-hmm. But we have projects that are wrapping up, but also projects that should be getting ready to start. Yeah. And we talk about it, the weather, just like change orders. If you get a change order that delays the time that you're leaving a project, it just backs up the next thing. Yes. So
the work does not go away.
Yeah. So
it just piles up, and then you got to push through it because
and everyone wants it done. Right. Everyone wants it done yesterday.
Well, and we had we're closing out a few projects, and one of the ones that we're in the process of closing out had a deadline, Memorial Day. It was because we were putting in a pool at a facility. And it was a hard deadline. They got to have their pool by Memorial Day, and we pushed and pushed and pushed. And I mean, it got really muddy there, and we had a couple issues with pieces of equipment, and I got mad and, was discussing that we put equipment into the mud, and it's this fine line of we got to work, and we get everything we need to done, and the concrete guys can't pour because it won't stop raining.
So they don't have a pool by Memorial Day.
So they still didn't have a pool. It'll be done this week.
But it wasn't us.
We did what we had to do and push through.
Yes.
We pushed through even given the conditions. But the weather doesn't just stop us. You know what I mean? There's some people the weather doesn't impact. You know what I mean? An electrician can be okay inside. Plumber can be okay inside if there's a roof on. But, concrete, same boat as us. It starts raining like that. You just can't pour concrete that you need to look perfect.
Yeah, it's just too wet.
When it's pouring. So, weather has not been our friend. We had a good April, rough May in terms of weather. The guys have pushed through, but we're starting to see the work. There's a feeling going around that people have been concerned as the bidding slowed down over the last, say, 3 to 6 months, and we definitely felt it in different sectors. But we maintained our backlog, kept our backlog where we needed it to be, haven't outright burned through it, and we got go ahead on a couple jobs. We got the next phase of Aronimink, which is good. There's a project we call TLE. TLE got their permits, finally went through. That's one of those where we talk about a job that is supposed to start, everything's online to start, and then governmental slowdown permit issues.
Was that 9 months?
Yeah. I mean, it ended up being 9 months.
That was a last year thing.
That was supposed to be a last fall job. And then it came to this spring, and this spring they still couldn't get all their it was nothing anybody was doing. It was just a time frame. So everything's done now. It's just a matter of getting their pre-con. Everything's recorded. So that job's going. So we have a few jobs starting there. Special projects. Got another really nice award from one of the contractors. A couple contractors we work for. So they got three jobs that they just got awarded in the last couple weeks. So they're really, talk about backlog. I mean, they are loaded. Those guys have some work in front of them, work to do. And we made a shift where we took Justin, who's been with us. Justin's been here a decade, right? I mean, Justin's in 10 years now.
Yeah.
And Justin's sort of touched everywhere in the company. I mean, he's been landfill, commercial, just guy around the shop. And I mean, I think Justin painted your office, your old office. You got to go back, 3 revisions of the shop ago. Justin's just done everything for us. And I met with Justin and said, listen, I could really use you to go into the special project side. Just like Joe Stauffer has done a great job, on that side, just owning the jobs. I said, we feel like you could do the same thing. So Justin went over there, and then we had taken Levi from there because Levi sort of wanted to grow into a different role. So it's been fun to watch the guys really take on the roles, and we've organized and streamlined and tried to just get to where we feel like we can be efficient and run smoothly, right? Run the way that we perceive we used to run. Look at how Berg ran in 2018, 2019, try and find like that secret sauce of what that was and get back to that. So I think we've been pretty effective at it. I'm happy with the foreman makeup. Temperature wise, I think everybody's starting to feel good. I mean, we had that meeting, was it 2 weeks ago now, on site here, and really just, open the doors to say like, okay, we're, sort of, I hate to say like uncuffed, but that's what it felt like, like we were able to say like, okay, let's go back to being us now. We did Longwood, amazing project. It looks great. You see it all over the internet. They're advertising their winter or summer fountain series and everything else now. But be out of there and go get back to doing what we're doing, find the next special thing to do. And I think we've done that. We have the backlog, we're working. Team's doing a great job actually out at Letterkenny. I've been happy with their progress. They're moving a lot of dirt out there. So that's good. Just all over the place. I feel like we're being pretty successful right now.
Well, and the interesting thing is for the people that like are new to the industry or not even in the industry, like there's still the same window of getting stuff done. Mm-hmm. So that is the crazy part of what we do. And it's seasonal. We'll talk about it in the fall because it gets the same jam up. It's supposed to be April showers, but it's May showers this year kind of thing. The season's shifted a little bit. But the reality is that we have a window. We have to make it work. We get the hours in, we get it done, and we have to do it, make hay when the sun's shining type scenario. It's the old farmer mentality there. And it's like, okay, the work's got to get done. And either you're fighting through it. I was on the highway yesterday, and there was like a RoadCon crew out there. I guess they're putting up those new easy pass things.
Turnpike things.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the guys are out in the slickers because whatever they had to do just couldn't wait. I guess, just
gotta go.
Yeah. And it was like, that's not fun. I mean, I'd much rather be in snow, but when you're wet, it's icky feeling. Once you're in it. But like, boy, that first like half hour just gets real uncomfortable until you basically like, I'll see Jack and like, or whatever, if they're doing like a pipe job. And it's like that first time the water goes over the top of your boots. Ugh. But then if you do it for a while, you're like, all right, I'm already like in this spot. I'm just going to keep on cranking through it. And so, compaction becomes an issue. Certain things become more of an issue than others. Sometimes just visibility that you can't even see if depending on what the rain is.
And even like I think our teams do a really good job of their E&S. Like we do a good job of really being diligent about trying to keep everything on the site. Keep it as clean as we possibly can. But we had something, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago now at one of the jobs, and it was at Letterkenny. And so we're running at Letterkenny, a lot of trucks there. And Don did a site visit and a review. And I called Don about it. I was like, Don, they're running 6 trucks in a driving rainstorm, and you're writing up that there's a little bit of mud on the road. They have to clean it up by the end of the day and dock them a point. I was like, if the biggest problem you have is a little bit of mud outside the construction entrance on a private site, that you have a sweeper truck sitting there that you're going to clean it up, like that's not a minus point for me. These guys have managed to figure out a way to work in a driving rainstorm, and they're keeping the site clean. And we're not talking road, mud track down the road. Because we've all been there when you pull up to a site, ours or somebody else's, and the guys are trying to fight through in conditions, and you got trucks running off the site, and the mud just runs down the road coming off those tires because it's too much mud to come off of in the rock construction entrance. So I felt like the guys had done a good job. But that's where we are now. Where we are now is we're going to call out every little thing. The other day I did it with.
We're setting the standard of quality and safety, right? Yep. And that's the thing. So, it's hard to like discern, like everything else went right, and that you still got marked for that, even given the conditions. Yep. Even though it was to some extent potentially a quality or safety
yeah.
concern.
Well, and
so that's it's hard to
it's like, okay, these are the factors, except for that there's some extra external factors you can't control, right? That's
exactly.
Yeah. Well, and I think one of the things that I really want to continue to work on, right, over the next year, let's say, is that you're never going to get 100, right? Like you're never going to get a perfect score because the reality is our work won't allow it. I mean, just the conditions would have to be so perfect for the score to be perfect. And I'm not saying you're never going to get it, but I feel like in where we are today as a culture, you know, the everybody gets a ribbon idea, right? That we've like dumbed it down that everybody gets a good grade, right? And so I think we have to accept that that's not what I would like Berg to be. I don't think it's what you guys want Berg to be. I think we want to identify when we do a great job and reward that. And when we do a good job, we want to call it out and say, that was a good job, but it wasn't great. Like we could be better, you know, and then give ourselves something to shoot for, something to be better. And if Don doesn't knock points off, or, you know, somebody doesn't say something, or Stetson or Anthony or Dylan don't hold people accountable, well, you're never going to get that. The only way you're going to get it is for someone to hold people accountable and call out the little things, you know. In the last week, we've had 2 little things. One was just, I was driving and I saw Brooks is coming the other way, and Brooks had a headlight out, and so I called him and I said, like, Brooks, like, did you do a pre-trip? He said, yeah. I said, okay, well then why is the headlight still out? And it turned out they had a headlight at the shop and they rectified the situation. You know what I mean? And then there was one with Trey where they caught it before anything went wrong. You know, and so they wrote up a near miss, and it's like it's funny because. That's who we need to be. You know what I mean? Going forward is that we don't want to write up a mistake. We want to write up what could have been a mistake and we caught it beforehand, and then learn from it. You know what I mean? Because that's where we're trying to be. It's the only way we're going to be going back years to when you said, you know, are we safe because we're lucky, or are we safe because we're safe? You know, and that's been a transition. It's been a process to get there. And, you know, sometimes it makes it a little more difficult and frustrates the guys, but I think it pays dividends. I think it's the way that everybody gets home safe every single day and works through conditions that are not ideal.
Yeah. Especially when it's happening this consistently.
Yeah. Especially when 50% of the time it's not ideal.
Yeah. Well, that, and I think that like a part that some people have challenged with that is that you know, we really want to bring new people into the industry. We want to, you know, have young people. We want to have people coming from other places. And to do that, they might not have that base knowledge. So this is one of those things where, like, yeah, if you had a crew that had been working together for 20 years, they all have a base level of knowledge. But the base level of knowledge that we're starting with isn't at the same point as where maybe it was 20 years ago. So, you know, the near misses are more important than they might have been. You know, my brother and I were having that conversation the one day back when we were first starting, and, you know, a near miss, we just were laughing about all the near misses that we've had over the years. And, like, you know, now they're all funny stories because whatever, but it's just, you know, we also have been in the industry for a long time. So our comfort level with what a near miss was completely different than when there's somebody that, you know, their last job maybe was working at Walmart, or, you know, and they want to try the field. Like, great, that's wonderful. But, you know, they have to be comfortable and understand, and both sides, the person that expects them to be doing what right. they're supposed to be doing, and then them not knowing, and making sure that they're, you know, staying out of the way of things and things of that nature. If they don't know, they want to be on the side of, you know, making sure everybody gets home.
For sure. Yeah. It's a team thing, right? I mean, you got to establish the level of expectation, but it's for everyone's safety. Like, if that newer person doesn't know what the standard is supposed to look like, they might not be just putting themselves at risk. They might be putting everyone at risk. So.
Right. Yeah, well, yeah. And you say team, and I feel like I'd be remiss here if I didn't say, looking back at May, I mean, we've added to the team. We've made some changes and subtracted from the team, all very conscious decisions. But I've been walking around, and Brian, I'm genuinely, like, I mean, the shop there's a solid bunch of guys in the shop. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We're gonna quickly rebound and recover, or whatever word you want to use, to get to a point where I think the field will see the responsiveness and the mechanics are able to hold people accountable, which is going to just immediately, you know, like yank a U-turn on how our equipment's been. Because we've been struggling over the last 6 months with our equipment getting beat up at times by ourselves, you know, not outside. We had another incident where somebody got onto a site and broke a couple windows on the machine again, which I just I don't understand. You know, it doesn't make sense to me. I'm not going to tell you as a kid growing up in South Jersey, as they built, you know, all around me, that I never climbed in other people's machines and just sat in them, but I never broke a window. Like there's like a disconnect. You know what I mean? Like
right.
Oh, you don't know how many times you like bike up to a site and then nobody was there, and you're like go climbing in the big
machines and
you know make little noises and like
crawling across the track. I mean, for sure.
And I mean, we used to ride our bikes, our BMX bikes, not even dirt bikes, and like, you know, there'd be big build jumps in the middle of their things, or you know, like crazy stuff. Ride through houses they were building. You know, like, I'm not saying we didn't get into things. I'm just saying
purposely damage,
intentionally
damage.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
Yeah,
but. You know, but I digress. But getting back to our equipment, like I think the mechanics are going to be a big change that everybody's going to feel real quickly. You know what I mean? Between Dustin, Kyle, and Brandon, like and Spencer's already there. Everything just feels a little tighter, a little more responsive, a little more accountable. So I'm hoping we see the benefit of that. And then we brought in some new people, added a couple foremen. Made a couple shifts, and then we got the kids coming in from BCTC, which is going to be exciting. You know, in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see all of these kids get out of school. Not all, it's not a lot, but I think it's like 2 or 3. And I'm excited to see them get out on the site and get some people who made a decision at a young age that this is what they wanted to do, and give them the opportunity to see what it's really like and do it, and see if it's what they want to do. And if it is, hopefully they can be a good fit here. And that's why we make the effort we do at the tech schools and the other places, is try and find these people who aren't in construction because it's where they ended up. It's in construction because it's where they wanted to be.
Sure.
So I'm excited about that as well.
Well, it's funny. The young guy the other day, I was with him for a little bit, and I was asking what he went to school for, and he did his first year of graphic design, and but now he's going to go work in a mechanic shop, like complete 180. I mean, in my mind, right? But he realized that graphic design wasn't for him. And so he's going to go to the mechanic shop, and he had a couple other like internship things he was thinking. And like the neat thing is they weren't all in the same field. They were literally like, you know, left, right. I was like, he's like, well, I want to try this out. I want to try this. Like, I got to figure out, like he said, and he's actually he's on the wait list for like Thaddeus Stevens thing. But he's like, I'm going to go work for this guy, because if I don't really want to do that, I don't want to actually go to that school. So it was a really thoughtful way for him to like try out some things and do a little work here and there before he actually jumped in, because of, you know, at 18 you got to make a decision, and then
right.
If you don't pivot quick, you're going to be in that for a long time.
Either way, right? And no matter which way you are headed, it's a big investment, no matter what. So it was
just crazy, because it's like, wait, you're going to be kind of computer to like turn wrenches. That's a 180 for sure.
Well, you know what's funny is that's true. But we also say that, and our best people in the office are guys that didn't start out behind a computer. You know what I mean? I don't mean that in a bad way, and I'm not trying to knock anybody, but I mean, just look at where the office that is managing how we operate on a daily basis, and almost to a man, all of them have field experience. Like, in other words, it may not be in the field we're doing. You know what I mean? Like, you take Brad and Scott, who were in construction, but in different phases of the construction than they would manage now. You know what I mean? Or Dylan and Stetson, who did it. You know what I mean? Or, Anthony was a little bit active in it. Clemmis came right out of school, so he's like the exception. But the funny part is Clemmis and Anthony would be just as likely as anybody to jump in a ditch. You know what I mean? Like, you watch them, and so it's a mentality thing. You know what I mean? That these guys, they don't view, I don't think they see as big a difference between the computer and the shovel as people might think. You know what I mean? Because it's, in one, you're trying to facilitate getting the guys to work or managing the work, and the other, you're actually doing the work. But I think if you have the right mindset, it's actually the same person. It's just a person who identified slightly different skills and said, this is where I could better take advantage of my skills for myself and the team. But they're still, I think if you walked into the shop one day, if Ford walked in and said, hey, there's a water main break in the middle of Morgantown, we need to go fix it, everyone's tied up, I think Ford could have a pretty comfortable crew that he could pull right out of the shop and be like, yeah, we're going to go fix this water main and not worry about it.
We just got to get the machine there.
You know, Dylan's got a CDL. Dylan will get the machine there for you. You know what I mean? That's literally how crazy is that?
I'm going to call my main man, Joe.
Yeah.
I don't know where he'll be, but he'll show up.
He'll get the machine there quick. But so I think that says something about how we ended up, building the company.
Yeah. And I don't think it's necessarily a background thing. Like, I don't think it's did you come from the field? Did you come from college? I think it's a culture thing. We've figured out the types of people that fit well within our culture, within our organization. And it's people who are willing to take ownership of a problem, find a solution, and get the job done.
Yep.
Right. And so like you look at like Clemis with no field experience versus some of our guys who came from the field into an office setting like Stetson. And while they have totally different skill sets and management styles and all of those things, they both take ownership of problems, like come up with a solution, and are not afraid to be involved in the execution. Yeah. And so like, I don't think it's where'd you come from or how'd you get there? It's a personality. It's a personality. Yeah. It's an attribute, a trait for sure. Yeah.
Well, and I'm a huge fan. You hit the word attributes. So I'm a huge fan of attributes, and that's what I think lends it to us. And I have found myself having to curb myself more and more because our team is becoming so efficient at doing what they do, at owning their job, at, like I try and preach, like doing your job, knowing your responsibilities and doing it, that I can get caught where I want to, Brad calls it see problem, fix problem, right? Like he like dumbs it down to like, I'm a caveman. And he just says, like Dan, sees problem, fix problem, see problem, fix problem. And I've had to realize like, that's not even helpful at times. You know what I mean? Like there's an entire structure built to address the problem, identify the problem, find a solution, implement the solution, problem solved. And I really shouldn't be involved in it. And still, every once in a while, I get caught in it. And it happened the other day. And I called Stetson and apologized. I was like, I apologize. You know what I mean? I jumped in, made something happen. It probably was effectively what you would have done anyway, but I did your job, which is exactly what I said no one was supposed to do. I didn't do my job. I did your job. Mm-hmm. And not because you didn't do it, because I just chose to jump in, and Stetson was really good about it, but I wanted him to know, like I realized it was a mistake. I'll try and correct it, because, none of us are any more entitled to be able to do someone else's job for him. Like, dude, if you're doing someone else's job, you're not doing your own job. So what did I not do while I was busy trying to do Stetson's job that I didn't even give him a chance to do? And so I'm trying to be more and more cognizant of that now, because the team is they're efficient. I mean, I feel really good about where they are. And I know I've said that a few times, it's repetitive, but it's genuinely where I am. We have good backlog. We're working for people that we want to work for, doing projects that we think we want to do, in places we want to do them, right? We're like doing the thing we said we were going to do. And I don't think there's any coincidence that that our feelings, that our mental health, and that our accounting software suggests that we are doing better now. You know what I mean? We're moving in the right direction because we have consciously made a decision to do it, and we're sticking to our guns about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Good. I don't know.
Just let it stop raining.
Nothing else to be said.
No, let it stop raining with the sunshine.
Yeah, let the sun come out. Let's get nice and warm.
Yeah, the accounting software would agree with that. The rain's got to stop.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But that's a good place to wrap it up. We're doing good work. Our people are doing a fantastic job when the weather allows them to, and it's you said something. It's the catalyst, right? The catalyst of construction. Is that what you said? Something like that. So
it is what it is, right? We're construction doesn't go anywhere without the guys doing the work that we do. And I'm not saying Berg specific. I don't. There's a lot of great construction companies, heavy civil construction companies out there, and nobody does anything without them. You don't have water. You don't have sewer, you don't have electric, you don't have anything.
Yeah, you got a tent probably. People willing to actually do the work. So
to get their boots muddy, have water go over the top of them.
Yeah. That's a good place to wrap it up. Thanks for joining us today, folks. We hope you got something from this, and we hope you come back for another episode.